his first showing on Young and Beautiful, just like Shadow. We'll have to see if bringing two people in will cost them more in sort of coordination than it will in mechanical skill. I'm a big fan of Emil's. I think it was great. Used to play on a team called Red Reserve. Didn't really have that many showings, but pretty impressive roster.
Well, it's a pretty impressive roster when you got 12 of them, but Eagle Gaming happy to stick with the current roster they do own. Now, Eagle Gaming, specifically, they're a very coordinated team. They know how to play around Nico's Blade. They know how to play around his Genji. Young and Beautiful, you've only had a couple of days, really, to actually play with Shadow and Emil. How are they going to interact? Because we've looked at them before and we've spoken to them and said, you know, who's your shot caller? Who do you go in with the fights? Who actually like says, right, we're going to dive now, X, Y, and Z. We're going to, you know, form a tank formation here, and we're going to kind of slowly push around. They've said we're more fluid. We're more, we can just allow the team to call shot calls when they, well, call shots when they feel it's necessary. And with Shadow in, is he just going to be able to run rampant?
Yeah, Young and Beautiful, they're being a bit liberal, being a bit democratic with the shot calling, and they are going to be coming out with a pretty classic dive here, except we're going to have Ding at their back with a Moira giving quite a bit of healing. That's going to be Ben Best, and Emil can stick in the fight for a little bit longer than Hip and Peepu can. However, Flippy's going to be looking to take them out fast. He's got the Widowmaker. That's a huge amount of burst damage available.
Well, Nico's already found Dempsey. Dempsey caught off on the sidelines completely alone, and Flippy even taking out Gustav. Already Young and Beautiful, 2 men down. They are finding the point, however. Shadow being more of a frontline Genji for the time being. They're going to have to recuperate some of those numbers. He just gets pinned into a corner, and Pipu sticks it to him. Shadow's going to fall, Ding is going to follow him, and Nico finds himself a 3K at the start of the game.
And a little bit trepidatious there from Young and Beautiful, taking their time to make the engagement. And that meant that Flippy had for room. He needed to get that pick at the start. And of course, Dempsey lost out in the Tracer duel against Nico, because he sort of went up against Nico, but the rest of Eagle Gaming were waiting in the wings to collapse upon Dempsey, make sure that Nico wasn't under too much pressure. Now Shadow, he's not got much towards his blade. It's going to be more of a vanilla dive coming out from this team here. Ding's not even close to the coalescence, so they're just going to have to do it all on mechanical skill alone, Jules.
Well, Shadow's already got the Discord orb, but him just hesitating to jump in for the time being. Ben Best goes instantly down that bubble coming through from Nox, just making sure he can't get as much healing as possible. That'll be Pipu actually taking out Shadow and Dempsey. Both DPS duos taken out by the support player. Flippy, he's going to have a bit of an easy time. He's got Inversights already built up. They are contesting point, however, but it should be quite an easy fight. Flippy's going to take one to Emil, and Emil is going to fall.
Indeed, Emil throwing himself into the grind. I wanted to get that mech back and respawn with his team. Of course, he will have the self-destruct now. And Dempsey's ready to open this up with a pulse bomb should it be required. However, if he has quick reactions, Pipu could try and stop this with the sound barrier. Ideally, the main target here would probably be Hip when it comes to laying down that pulse bomb.
More often than not, but he is 90% towards that Transcendence. That's going to be the main problem here. Shadow just hitting the right click, see if he can get a bit of extra charge. 10% towards that Dragon Blade. A couple of reflected shots, but no real connections to start off with. Dempsey gets taken out yet again at the start of the fight. Nico is going to take him. Just make sure he knows who is a better tracer on this map. Shadow still trying to find that blade. 5% away. Early Transcendence for Eagle Gaming, but it might just be what they need. Ben Best falls to Flippy. Flippy takes good stuff too. Shadow trying to exit the fight, but it was way too late. Nox gets the leap, gets the kill on him too.
Standing still and accepting his fate, but now as we move in, we know that Shadow 2K will have that blade at his command, and of course Hip used for Transcendence in the last fight, so now Shadow, his main target is going to be Pipu. We want to try and make that dive and take him out before that beacon hit the ground. If it does, it's going to stymie this push quite a bit. Dempsey, he's still holding on to this pulse bomb, however, and he doesn't really want to stick it onto Nox because he knows that Primal Race is going to be available. Overtime's in session. Yeah,
it's ticking down. Shadow has to get to the point at this time. Getamaze is there too, falling pretty low. Self-destruct comes out. Shadow gets helled out of there too, but it does actually find Emil in the front lines. There's the blade finally opened up. He actually has to retreat straight back to the point, however, finally dives in onto Gustav, but just booped away and actually hit. Finds just a left click in the back, and he actually takes him down. Overtime still ticking. Ding gets on the point, but Flippy takes him out, makes clean work of him. That's 100% to 0 for Eagle Gaming on Sanctum.
You can see Eagle Gaming, they're playing Eagle Gaming's game. They're bringing out the Widow that Flippy is so well renowned for, and it's really working out in their favor. They're doing so much to just keep Flippy safe. A bit of like double pockets and tank pocketing as well. Making sure that getting onto Flippy really means that Young and Beautiful have to pay for every inch they move in blood, especially when Flippy's hitting those shots as you get in as well. And that's one of the things about Sanctum. You can play those long sight lines, make sure that when you're moving towards that Widowmaker, you're taking continuous heavy poke damage as you move in, and when you actually start the fight, you're at a significant health disadvantage. However, we're moving over to the Shrine, and here we're seeing Flippy move over onto a little bit more of a classical pick. He's going to be on the Soldier, laying down once again a huge amount of hit scan, poke damage. Hip and Pipu will be at his back, and Young and Beautiful, they're going in for a bit more of a vanilla dive.
I like this coming out from Eagle Gaming. They're actually pocketing Flippy now. Normally you see that on Nico. He has the Ana to back him up, and he has the Zenyatta as well to put an orb on him. But Young and Beautiful going for the old-fashioned dive. Best instantly Discord gets taken out, but they are going to trade 1-for-1 as Hip does fall as well. Shadow finds the kill onto Flippy. They are going to regain control of the point. Going to play point for the time being. Just force Eagle Gaming to come to them. 50% on that blade already. That is one scary Cyborg Ninja when he gets it online.
Absolutely, and of course, Young and Beautiful will come with the cap now, which is more than they could do on Sanctum, so we're feeling very happy to be accruing some percentage already. And Young and Beautiful, they played it pretty well, considering they lost both their tanks in that fight. Eagle Gaming didn't want to take the fight when they had Nox up because they lost Hip early. No Discord or no Harmony Orb to keep them alive, and Hip's already under pressure in the back.
Yeah, Bembest is going to dive in yet again. Hip is going to fall once more. First up, now the target prioritization is really coming through for Young and Beautiful. They said Shadow is the one to call the dives, and you can really feel it now. Taking out the Zenyatta. Shadow has got no care in the world. He's got that Dragon Blade available, and so does Dempsey with that Pulse Bomb. It's looking like a Young and Beautiful next couple of fights at least. If they can stagger these out, they've even got the Transcendence to fall back on.
Bit of a victory spin there from Shadow. And of course, neither Hip nor Pipu have their... Oh, okay. Caught out already. Dempsey forced to throw out the Pulse Bomb and make a hefty retreat.
A little bit of a jump scare. You're like, what's that, soldier? I guess I click Q.
Oh, well. Secretly a horror game.
Yeah. Well, it is when you've got a Shadow on your team, that's for sure. If you're against him, at least. Nico does find the D, so Flippy actually opens up with a Tactical Visor. Does find 2 as well. That's actually 3. Well, 2 members did, and a D-Mech from Young and Beautiful. Shadow comes out with a blade, but once again, it's really ineffective. They just completely disengage from him. No real ults apart from that sound barrier were committed. Big for Eagle Gaming, and I already kind of pegged Dragon Ball to win that fight. They used two offensive ultimates. They didn't even blow that Transcendence. Didn't feel like they had time.
And crucially, Hip is also going to be able to match that Transcendence now. In the midst of that fight, he managed to hit a couple of orbs, including one on a Wayward Shadow 2K. And I want to point out the great use of the knockback abilities that Eagle Gaming were using in order to control Shadow 2K when he had that blade. He forced him to dash into a pillar.
Oh, there's the double trance coming out from Eagle and Young and Beautiful. You can see already Young and Beautiful just hesitant to actually move in. Bembest is discorded, but he does have the Primal Rage. Shadow finds the dash onto Hip once again. No more Discord orbs for you, my friend. Even Gustav is going to take a kill, take Flippy out of the fight. And that will be, once again, Young and Beautiful reclaiming this point, although Nico's got to have a few words to say about it, but man advantage is in the favor of Young and Beautiful. Should be an easy clean, and already they've got that Pulse Bomb lined up for the next.
Indeed, a quick investment by Young and Beautiful, and profit was made. Both of their tank ultimates and the Transcendence was put into that fight there. And of course, Hip, he had the counter Transcendence, and I thought that may well have gone the way of Eagle Gaming because Bembest put down his Winston Shield so early, and that meant that Nox, once that Winston Shield had dissipated, he could move forward and have a huge amount of advantage in terms of a shielding available for his team. But here comes the Dragon Blade.
Well, they're going to go for the dive again. Can this Dragon Blade actually work? The self-destruct to actually zone Shadow out. He only gets 2 slashes in the D-Mech, a little bit of extra damage on the tanks in the front line, but that was enough done. Apparently, Hip is going to go down. That was a big right click right in the head. Shadow finds the dash onto Pipu as well. Overtime ticking through. Young and Beautiful looking to secure Village. Yeah, Shadow just cleaning up the rest of the fight. Should be pretty easy from here on out. Super staggered at Eagle Gaming. Flippy, he tried to get on the point. It wasn't avail, and that'll be the round going over to Young and Beautiful.
Victory sound barrier there. Just one for the stat cards, Jaws. 6 players afflicted with that. You're going to feel pretty good if you're Young and Beautiful now. No 2-0 here, and it looks like when they're not going up against some specific Eagle strats, more like vanilla Overwatch, where you're going against the Soldier, that's where Young and Beautiful really start to shine. But of course, Village is somewhere where we can see a couple of weird strats come out. We've seen Bastions before, we've seen Triple Tank, we've seen Pharas. Looks like Flippy is going to be going back to a Widow. But Young and Beautiful, they've got some tricks up their own sleeve.
Yeah, something more comfortable maybe. I mean, last round, you couldn't really do much on the Soldier. Had one nice tactical visor, but it was all on the dive of Young and Beautiful to actually erase him from the fight more often than not. And in fact, Hip was mainly prioritized with a lot of this early aggression. The dives coming out from Young and Beautiful are pretty damn scary, but something a little bit different, like you just mentioned. They're actually going for the triple tank with the Junkrat. They want to hold point, and they want to hold it strong.
Going up against Flippy's Widow here, I want to see real discipline behind Bembest's shield. Of course, Bembest is going to be moving forward. He's going to try and block out that room that they're trying to come from, but Flippy's made a rather strange approach. He's gone around the right hand side on his own. He's a brave boy.
He is a brave boy, but he's got the height advantage now. Gustav, you've got to be careful, buddy. Don't want to get your head taken off. Although Hip is going to find Ding, maybe a little bit of comeuppance for him. Nico jumping onto the Junkrat also. He's got a few bombs in there as well. Ben Best does find knocks, however, but look at the firing range, just the free fire and free damage coming out from Nico at the moment. Dempsey finds the D-Mech as well as Ben Best finding that Flame Strike. Shatter, he finds Hip once again. He has done 9 HP battle with the enemy Junkrat. Flippy does take him out, but the problem is no other team to back him up. The point goes to Young and Beautiful.
Indeed, Flippy was going to have trouble getting back onto that point, and Ding has rejoined the fight. He's going to have healed up Ben Best. He's going to feel nice and cushy with that Biotic Grasp healing, really making him feel safe and at home here on the point. And I imagine Young and Beautiful are going to be doing just the same. They're just going to stick around on this objective, force Eagle Gaming to come to them. Flippy has made the change, Jaws. He's gone over to the Sombra.
All right, okay. That's what Young and Beautiful have kind of removed from their roster as well. Spox's Sombra was just... It was pretty devastating. It was pretty intense, I'm not going to lie. But Shadow sticking on the Junkrat, more than happy to get that Riptire. It isn't 10% after all, and even Ben Best working towards his Earth Shatter. Devastating combo if you can let it happen, but there's the Riptire coming through for Eagle Gaming. Nico, you got to be careful, buddy. Well, he's not too careful because Ding actually just ends up going down. That will be the rest of Eagle Gaming actually jumping onto the point now. Now it's time for Shadow to find a kill with the Tire. He does find that. Nox is going to get taken out. You can see Ben Best just gets completely dove. Big Transcendence actually stops the Graviton Surge. Self-destruct right in the center of it. Will kill Flippy in the end. Still contesting the point is the Zaya, but Nico finds the man at the top. Shadow ends up going down. They've still got control. They just need to be able to clean the rest up.
Dempsey managed to save Gustav with a well-timed barrier against that against the Riptire. It was going to take out both Ding and Gustav, but a nicely placed energy barrier just gave Dempsey a bit of energy and reward. And Dempsey really carried this fight. After both of his supports had gone down, he communicated with Emil. Was like, okay, even though we've got no healing, we can still make this work. We're going to get a big grab. We're going to come in with a self-destruct, try and get through that Transcendence. And of course, that meant that Hip invested his ultimate for no real gain. 82% already.
The point's being taken though. It's been contesting the back line. The bait and switch from Eagle Gaming sitting up at the top. Come to us while we just take the point. Big EMP actually strikes 4. Self-destruct only gets the D-Mech, and Ding is going to fall too, actually. Big Earth Shatter could come through and save the rest of the team fight from Ben Best. He's got to play it carefully though. That energy barrier is still in the way. He can't quite find anything. He jumps forward to get it, but Eagle Gaming fully stacked up on the point. They end up reclaiming it.
And Ding's consistently falling first in these fights. Eagle Gaming know exactly what the weakness of Young and Beautiful's comp is. If Ding isn't there, then it's incredibly hard to survive with those, with that triple tank, especially against the Junkrat, because he's putting out so much damage. And of course, his reward for that, Nico will once again have a Riptire ready to go, and he can stymie this push early should he put it in the right place. It's going to be down to Dempsey again to try and shield that one out should it be required. Gustav also has the option of a sound barrier. That overshield can save people from a Riptire, but you don't really want to use it that early. You want to use it when you're forcing in the engagement.
Well, there's the Riptire. You can see it kind of wobbling in midair. It's going to try and find somebody. There's a big EMP. In fact, could Shatter and Ding take the brunt of that damage. Even Emil's Met was 2 damage to even survive. He ends up making Baby Diva, and that will be a big stagger actually coming through for Eagle Gaming. 45% on the clock. He's going to have to kill him at some point. Nico finally puts him out of his misery. 50% on that clock, and Young and Beautiful, they're going to have to change something up here. Shadow switching over to that Genji this time.
I'm not a fan of Gustav's usage of the sound barrier there. Not only was it a bit too early to try and ward away the tire you can wait out. It's got a 10-second timer, and the sound barrier only lasts for 5. And also, he only got a few of his team members with it. So now everything rests on Dempsey with this Graviton Surge.
Big dive. That EMP is going to be oh so crucial as well. Nico's trying to just dack away from Shadow, who's giving him a whole world of trouble. Ben Best does end up using that Earth Shadow onto the point, but I don't think it actually got anybody. Big Transcendence saving them from the Graviton, but Emil just self-destructs. If it doesn't work once, well, it's going to work a second time because Emil placed it currently that time around. Nico does end up finding 2. Shadow and Gustav end up falling, but they do manage to reclaim the point in meantime. But Nico's just taken out the front line. They just enabled Young and Beautiful to play on that point, and it was absolutely free fire from Nico, who's got another tire ready.
Absolutely. It was great play from Getamaze to decide, okay, here I'm going to use the emergency self-destruct. So what he did is he forced Ben Best to turn around and shield that so that his back was exposed to both Hip and Peepu, who managed to finish him off. Oh, that's an early EMP, though.
That's a big EMP, and that's a big tire taking out Shadow and Gustav again. I'm not sure that Young and Beautiful can reclaim this one. They're trying to get on the point. It's ticking down in overtime. Ben Best, he was a sore loser in that engagement. 5 versus 1, a big team kill for Eagle Gaming. They're going to be able to take Village, and they take Nepal.
Indeed, Shadow's going to be holding onto his blade, but just going to be grasping it in frustration. Jaws, no chance to use it there. And Dempsey came in, got caught in a trap, couldn't walk out, and that Junkrat, pretty impressive from Nico.
Yeah,
showing
pretty
more
impressive.
Of a hero pool.
Not only that, Shadow played it as well. And I mean, Shadow's tires weren't as effective. I mean, Nico's ability to actually use his team as a supportive network, and them actually giving him so much space. We talked about last week, actually, Nico getting double pocketed more often than not. Not so much this time around, proving that he can just be that standalone player, that standalone Junkrat, and just did so much work with it. Not only that, Shadow a little bit underperforming, I think, especially on the Genji. Your blades weren't really there. It's all up to the second map, really, if he can pull it back.
Absolutely. And I want to go back to... I want to go back to those Riptides, but we'll probably do it in a little bit.
Yeah, we're doing it a little bit. We're going to jump to a quick break, guys. We'll be back with map number 2 very shortly. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Eagle Gaming and Young and Beautiful. If you've only just joined us, we're about to jump into map number 2. We just saw Nepal get taken by Eagle Gaming 2-1.
And I'd like to really point out, like I said before we break, some great synergy between Flippy and Nico. It looks like we are going to be going to Nambani, but regarding those Riptides, what they really did was dismantle the triple tank comp coming out of the side of Young and Beautiful, and they did that by consistently eliminating Ding first. And usually, Ding, the Moira, not a great target for those Riptides because of her fade. What they did, they made Flippy go into the back, make her either use her fade or hack her so she couldn't. And then it was all fair game for the Riptides. You could get rid of all the healing, and the rest of the tanks, they were just ult charge. Yeah, they really were. I mean, if you're a Junkrat at that point in the game and you're just free firing onto point, not a care in the world, not even Shadow was able to actually get on top of him when he did switch to the Genji at the end of the game. It's kind of a big question mark in my book, in all honesty. Nambani is going to be that, like you just said. It will be Eagle Gaming on the defense first up, with Young and Beautiful going on the attack. And I can imagine what we're going to see is Young and Beautiful reverting to the classic dive. It would make the most sense. Shadow's going to be calling those as well. And with the wealth of experience he's had over the last couple of years of Overwatch, in all honesty, it would make the most sense. Absolutely. Keeping Shadow and Emil on the Genji and Diva, respectively. Probably the best thing here for Young and Beautiful. We don't know how far along their synergy is yet. They've only been in the team for a couple of days. Put people on their comfort picks, let people play what they like to, and just try and brute force it through. Maybe, I know you're going to be happy, because every time we watch these games on desk, George, like, where's Viana on the defense? It looks like Pippi is going to be making you a happy man. Oh, yes, he is. It just doesn't really make sense some of the time when you don't have the Ana. I mean, you can play a bit more of a conservative game with the Mercy, but the counter dive, they must know Young and Beautiful going to go for this big dive. Flippy on the Widowmaker as well would be pretty big, but I want to see Pippi where he's actually going to be able to hold up. I can imagine they're just going to hold top left, as always. Put that Tracer there and maybe Flippy off to the sidelines. Obviously, his ability to actually skate around the map as well with that
with that rope, it's pretty easy for him to get out of any dangerous situation that Young and Beautiful actually put him in.
I'm surprised that Young and Beautiful actually picked this because it looked like Triple Tank was going to be one of their strengths. And Nobody doesn't really lend itself to that unless you're playing what Mosaic do, which hasn't really been that successful. But Eagle Gaming, they've had very successful defenses on this first point with Flippy on the Widowmaker. And he always takes these weird angles that you don't really expect, so you keep diving the same place expecting Flippy to be there, and he just isn't. Like, he's around the left-hand side right now, not where you usually expect a Widowmaker.
No, not especially as he's actually on low ground as well. Now they've spotted him. They know exactly where he is. They've got this Mercy on the offense, though. Gustav actually picking that one up to make sure he can damage boost Shadow, damage boost Emil, and just obviously heal them as well, but it's more fun damage boosting people. Let's not lie to ourselves. Emil's going to jump all on him, but he is going to have to fall back to point. In fact, Flippy actually finds Gustav to start off the fight. Ding has killed Nox, but Flippy is completely uncontested once again. Shatter has got a Discord orb on him, and he ends up going down. Man advantage for Eagle Gaming still, although Get Amazed Mech is going to fall, and he's going to have a 1v1 on the Mini Diva fight. Then Best takes out Pipu, and I take that statement completely back there, Legday. Young and Beautiful now, just kind of ruling the roost.
Ooh, hips down as well. It's just going to be down to Nox and potentially Nico as well to try and get in onto a point already. A tick has been accrued here for Young and Beautiful, and Gustav's returning to the fray, courtesy of that Guardian Angel. He needs to heal up Emil, though he's so low. Yeah,
he is pretty low, but they end up taking the point. Ben Best giving a little victory wiggle, and they will be able to start marching that one down. Look at Eagle Gaming, though. They have got a couple of ults nearly online, and Flippy has actually switched over to the Sombra, so not opting for that Widowmaker. It's fairly easy to telegraph where the Widowmaker is actually going to be on this map, and Flippy goes in. And he just goes down already. Shatter is going to find the kill with the help of that damage boost from Gustav. Nico finding the pulse bomb in the back is actually going to attach it to the statue. Not quite the target he actually wanted. And that's going to open up a dive onto Eagle Gaming's back line. With Shatter going down, though, with that blade coming up. Looks like it might just be a complete reset. But EMSL's not today. Going to get a D-Mech and the self-destruct kill. And that was only Nico vying for his life on that cut, which he ends up losing.
Yeah, 62 health on a Dream didn't really take him very far. But now Get Amazed, ready to come in and amaze us all with a self-destruct. Should it be necessary? Get Amazed has had quite a few good self-destructs thus far in Contenders. He's one of the more consistent fraggers when it comes to that ultimate. It's not easy to get those kills, but he is going to be contending with Shadow and a Dragon Blade, and there's a narrow window here. Hip 5% away from the Transcendence, but it looks like he's going to get it before the blade comes out.
Well, there's the Transcendence coming out of Young and Beautiful. They're just going to make sure everybody's kept alive on that car, and there's the self-destruct you wanted to see. Will it actually tag anybody? It does look like Ben Best took a little bit too much of that damage, but uh-oh. Hib sent out that Transcendence fairly early. Might just leave Shadow open with a blade opportunity, with Ding going down though. And I mean, Ben Best falling as well. It's all a matter of clean up now for Eagle Gaming. Can't really stagger Emil too much. They ended up just removing him from the fight. And a big retreat from Young and Beautiful for the time being.
There's a real disparity between theory and practice there from Eagle Gaming. I saw 4 people go back to try and peel Dempsey off of Hip, but they couldn't shut down Dempsey. Because what Dempsey was trying to do, he was trying to force out the Transcendence by himself so that Shadow has this open runaway that he does now in the next fight. And 4 people on Dempsey, they couldn't kill him, and that's a bit of an unforgivable slip-up because now Shadow's going to try and punish him for such a mistake.
Well, a big hack actually did come through. I'm not sure if that actually affected anybody. It looks like it actually affected the Diva, and the big EMP will follow through as well. Flippy ends up going down to start off the fight, but Ben Best will pay for it with his life. Nico finds the pulse bomb, but I think it just got eaten. It did. Emil comes up big self-destruct as well, and that blade isn't even needed here, Legday. They still have that pulse bomb available to them. Shatter, he's holding on to it, and maybe this is the experience from him too, not popping that Q just to get the last couple of kills because they already know they've won the fight.
Indeed, shades of Shadowburn, shall we say, is he's going to hold that off, wait for a better time to use it. However, once again, Hip is moving up towards the Transcendence. He's hitting so many of these orbs, getting so much key healing done onto his tanks, making sure that he builds these up rather fast. And I'm not even sure if Young and Beautiful will be aware of how much Hip has done, because this surprised me even. But still, Pipu does have a sound barrier. They'll know that that's in the way.
Cheeky Winston. Although Nox takes out Emil to start off the fight, there is the Transcendence from Hip fairly early again, but it does keep his front lane alive. He's not too worried about that blade, it seems. He's just happy popping it ASAP to make sure they can win the fight proceeding up to it.
Yeah, Hip there, he was like, okay, Pipu's dead. We have the sound barrier in reserve. That's not going to get spent this fight. So we can try and keep that in the back pocket for Shadow's blade. In the meantime, I'm going to start building up towards yet another Transcendence. If you can use it to secure a fight, especially when you're looking at this amount of time back. Ooh, sticking the shield. Not exactly what you want there. Flippy's already down.
Yeah, Flippy's already dead. In fact, that's the couple of times he's actually just gone in solo and got detected. Big self-destruct actually forces Ding to go into the Transcendence, once again to keep everybody alive and online. Shadow still has that play, but he has to deal with that Primal Raging Winston for the time being. They're all getting beaten around in this room. He ends up falling anyway, and there's the really early sandbar from Pipu. Shadow's going to open up the blade as well. He unsheaths it. He ends up finding him, gets a little bit of revenge. Flippy does use that Translocator, but you can't hide from Shadow. He ends up taking out the rest of the team. Emil's going to clean up the mech, and Pipu's going to go down as well. Young and Beautiful, almost with a clean wipe, are going to push it round to the final point.
Technology, no match for good old Hunter instincts from Shadow 2K here. And now Dempsey, he can try and lock down a door with this pulse on. When they're all clumped together, it's going to be a really good target for that ultimate. But Nico has one of his own. He can try and stick it onto a tank, and Flippy has the EMP as well.
Sneaky, sneaky. They get Amaze mech already. That is pretty big. Ben Best opens up, but that's a big EMP on the back line. Ding instantly falls. All that shielding completely disappears right in front of his very eyes. Ben Best takes out Get Amaze, but he was only the baby diva at the time being. They've still got the shorter spawn points also. A Translocator backload to send Flippy out of trouble if he so chooses to use it. Doesn't look like he actually needs to at the moment, because Nox and Nico, they're going to be able to clean up the rest of the fight. But 2 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock. Young and Beautiful still got a lot of time to work with.
Hip is building up ultimates at such a base. He only just swapped to Moira just for that one fight. He's already got the Coalescence ready to go. And that's going to be great to try and pressure down his tanks, or rather try and pressure down the enemy tanks or keep his own ones in that fight. It's great for trying to make sure the tank frontline battles go in your favor. You can keep yours nice and topped up while the others take a huge amount of damage. Of course, Flip is going to be building up towards that EMP rather quickly as well. So Ding, he's looking out behind him.
Oh, he's being very, very careful. He knows that Flippy can be behind him at any one point. They're going to back off, and 2 members already down. Shadow getting taken out by Nico. A very, very well-coordinated dive. You shut down the Genji so quickly as soon as he gets hacked.
And not only that, you're buying so much time for just the investment of one ultimate, and Hip's already back up to 20% or thereabouts. An inexpensive fight for Eagle Gaming. They knew their win conditions there. Pressure Ding, make sure they can't get back into the fight. Maybe you take Ben Best out, and Emil, of course, also invested the self-destruct, so that's something they don't have to worry about.
Dempsey finds his way onto the back line again. They should know he's there. Shadow has the blade. He's still trying to look for an entrance, but Amaze has got his number for the time being. They're going to try and focus Hype to start off with. Then Best finds him with a shield. The beat has been dropped by Eagle Gaming, but they still have that EMP. Shadow gets instantly hacked by that EMP. The self-destruct comes through, and Dempsey and Shadow pay the price. Flippy and Nox are going to be able to clean up the rest of it all.
Be a nasty stagger.
And that is going to be a nasty stagger. You aren't half wrong. With 60 seconds remaining, Emil better find a way to jump off the map.
No, let him be. It's just so. This is cyberbullying of the highest order, and there he goes. Flippy managing to pick that one off with a headshot. Nice little bit of stat padding there. Good job, Flippy. Proud of you, buddy. And Nox is ready with a Primal Rage. And that's going to make sure that he can really try and control how Young and Beautiful come in here. And Young and Beautiful, they need to make a quick incision. They need to hit the cart because only 30 seconds are remaining. They're down to their last attack.
The incision should be made by Shadow's blade. He has it online. He's been so hesitant to use it to start off with, but that's more proactive play from Eagle Gaming more often than not. Big Translocator on the other side. He's going to try and look for an easy hack. Nico ends up falling to the pulse bomb to start off with. They're just going to go dive straight in. Perfect corridor to actually use the blade. Shadow just swinging for his life, but can't quite get anybody. He got booted back instantly by Get Amazed. Only finds a little bit of damage on the tank, but the rest of the team are being able to clean the rest of the fight up. The sound barrier has been dropped. Gustav trying to just sit on the car. Overtime is still ticking down. Dempsey takes out Hip with the help of Emil. They find the D-Mech as well. It's still on the cards. Hip does have that Coalescence.
I want to see Ben Best control a door here. He has the Primal Rage. He can make sure that their points of ingress are incredibly limited, but no, Nox has broken through the blockade.
Nox finds his way through. The walls have been opened. Flippy's on the back line. He didn't find the hack, but he's found Ding. Gustav saves the rest of his supports, though. He's going to be able to peel him off straight away. Self-destruct finally finds Gustav in the end. Dempsey's still dodging round, has the pulse bomb as well, but they cannot leave the cart. The overtime is just so close to ticking down. Shadow desperately trying to build up a blade. They finally find the sticky bomb on to get Amazed's mech, and they manage to take it out and remove him from the game as well. Ding finds his partner in Hip and actually removes him. Shadow, he's still walking around. He's going to have this in overtime as well. Dempsey and Nico having a little 1v1, but Ben Best says not today. That will be round 1 being completed. 3 points on the board for Young and Beautiful.
In the 11th hour, they managed to do it. Shadow at the beginning there, he thought he had a blender in that tight corridor with blade, but he probably should have checked for warranty. Didn't go the way he wanted. Unfortunately, we just faced with a very hardy Diva mech. Couldn't really slice through that. But now Eagle Gaming, they have their chance on the attack to show Young and Beautiful how to do it quickly. However, Young and Beautiful, importantly, they have their win condition here. If they can hold this on any point of Numbani, they will be tying up the series draws and bring themselves one step closer to victory. on the defense. Looks like they're going to be once again going with the Mercy. We saw this coming out of the start. A little bit of a risky proposition for Gustav when he's going up against Flippy, who's very fond of a Widow, but we'll have to see if Flippy decides to play on that or if he's going to go for something a little bit more classic, like a Soldier.
Well, he always hides his pick to start off with. Every time I look at Flippy's portrait, I'm like, oh, that's something new, but no, it's probably going to be a Widow, I can imagine. Would make a whole lot of sense. He knows exactly how to play the Widow on the defense. You can imagine he knows how to exactly play it on the offense as well, but Young and Beautiful going Classico. Apart from Ding switching over to the Moira this time, there's no Zenyatta there, there's no Ana on the defense. They don't really want to hold the high ground, not for long at least. They want to be able to get onto the back lines, maybe anticipating the Widow pick from Flippy, just to erase him from the fight first.
And we've seen that Ding is incredibly good at the Zenyatta when it comes to hitting those shots, but I do believe that for Moira is the right pick here, because Ben Best is an incredibly aggressive tank. He likes to go very deep, and he takes a lot of damage. Always Hip just throws a Discord Orb on him, and the Eagle strategy is blow up Ben Best and then win the fight. Because there's no Winston to pressure you, and you get so much more space, and you have such a space disparity between the DPS that don't have a Winston and the DPS that do, that you can just sort of do what you want. So here Ben Best is going to be having Ding to heal him from long range with the Ana. That's going to be a huge boon for the Winston.
Not only that, that Bardic Grenade can deliver a mean bit of damage alongside, obviously, the purple it does leave behind. Does mean no one can actually get healed. Flippy will actually go on to the Widowmaker, so not too much of a surprise. Like we mentioned, it's going to get the high ground to start off with.
Oh, that's a nice
little
grapple.
Cheeky grapple, yeah, that is.
Emil can't go out and really challenge him. The damage drop-off's too great. Oh, okay, Shatter!
Shatter finds the kill. Flippy dings his head. They're going to dive straight onto the back line, though, try and get a bit of comeuppance, but look at the vantage point this guy is giving, and the space he's requiring for his team as well. Look, they cannot step around this corner. Ben Best is already low. They've used the nade already. They're still contesting the point, and they've got a tick.
Yeah, they don't really want to get on the point, because Flippy will just have open season where he's got his eyes on the Tracer.
Tracer, oh, MC, can he do anything? He's getting chased down by Nico. Shatter finally finds him for 8 HP, ends up getting taken out, but now he's got a Tracer to deal with. Apparently, that was needed. Okay, Shatter. Now he's popping off, refusing to give that second tick over to Eagle Gaming. They're going to find the D-Mech and the Reflect on to get amazed, find the kill, and he's 70% towards that blade.
Shell's like the Hulk, man. You can snipe him in the head, but he'll just come back angrier. And you won't like him when he's angry, because that's when he really brings in the dash resets. However, Flippy, as they come in for this fight, he's got the infra sights. Everyone's going to know where everybody else is, and this can be combined incredibly effectively with that pulse bomb. Here he goes, back again on his special spot. It's Mount Flippy. Can you climb it?
Cheeky. Oh, that was close. You don't want to pick your head out, Ding. He knows where he is now, though. Someone has to dislodge him, but he does dislodge himself in the end. The rest of Young and Beautiful know exactly where he is now. A dive straight after Shatter. Actually, ends Nox going back to base. Nico's trapped in this small room, and as they open up Transcendence, that Primal Rage was just beating the hell out of him. He ends up playing this price for it as well. Big Ana nade, and as Mercy end up going down, does mean the retreat for Eagle Gaming, and look at the ultimate bank that's been acquired too.
So aggressive.
66% on that Nano, that blade's available, even the sound barrier as the defense.
Indeed, Flippy's had enough of his nonsense. He's moving over to the Sombra, going to be trying to hack in, slash his way through. That's more of what Shadow's going to be trying to do, because he's got a Dragon Blade in his back pocket, and Hip has crucially used the Transcendence already, Jaws. So it's going to be open season for the Hunter himself, and where's he going to decide to put that blade?
Well, Flippy makes his way to the back line. Maybe a big hack onto Gustav is what he's trying to look for, but as soon as she gets tagged, she has to dip back. The blade's going to get opened up from Shatter. He's trying to find that Mercy in the air, but yet, again, another dull blade, not really doing all too much. Hip's been spotted, though, in the back line, gets chased in this small corridor. There's nothing you can really do against Shadow, and a big deflect actually lands him with 40% ult charge already. Flippy finds Ben Best, and Shatter ends up getting hacked. No wall running for him, and nothing really else to do. Ends up just backing off. Self-destruct, doesn't find anybody as a translocation from Flippy, does save his life. Another self-destruct just to get the remake. That'll be Eagle Gaming finding the second tick on the board.
Flippy did a good job of using that self-destruct as cover, so to make sure that no one could really get in onto him. And of course, Flippy, he managed to make sure Shadow was turned into a sniper Genji when he couldn't use any of that cyber agility or his abilities when he was stuck up top, throwing down the shurikens to no avail. So now, Shadow's had enough of that nonsense. He's going to be moving over to the Soldier 76, something a little bit more concrete, the consistent poke damage. I imagine his main target here is going to be Nox, try and punish all of those dives, the big hitboxes that you can feast upon with the long-range hit scan.
Yeah, not only Genji, but he is kind of synonymous for this Soldier pick as well. Anything big hit scan. I want to see him play the Widow, though. It would be kind of interesting to see him come up against Flippy. Flippy's got EMP. Shatter must know this by now, and in fact the rest of the team must know this as well. A big EMP ends up sending Shatter to the grave, and that'll be Nico dashing in as well, getting the D-suit on Emil. The prioritization actually from Nico has been absolutely wonderful, taking out the tanks first up, taking out that D.Va, so the rest of his team have such an easier time getting to that back line.
Ding did a really good job of keeping Emil alive in that baby D.Va form when he was trying to duel out against Nico, made sure that Nico couldn't get in towards the remainder of the backline. A little bit of a warding shield already tanking. Even when he's only got 150 HP, this man knows exactly how to play this.
Ding 60% on that nano though.
Oh, what a sleep!
There's a big sleep on Nico. Uh-oh, there's the pulse bomb that actually hit the barrier. What an amazing shield coming through from Nox. Nico's still trying to find his way to the back line. This is where they're going to push it now because they have that transcendence. Nico, 1v1, but that sound barrier heals up Dempsey. All nice and proper, but Nico's not quite done with him yet. Dempsey completely ignored him, and a pulse bomb has been built up yet again from Nico. He does send it in, but instantly gets denied once again by Emil. This guy's right finger, right hand.
He's very good at defense matrix,
exactly that. So going down, and a nano visor will open up from Shatter, although he already used half that nano dealing with the rest of the team. Amaze gets taken out of mech, and Pipu, well, wrong end of Shatter, that's definitely so. Translocator straight on top of Best and shatters his remainder of his clip.
As I was just saying, Emil is very good at defense matrix. This man is a fantastic D.Va, and proving it right there. Even his baby D.Va play is fantastic, and he knew exactly where to play that so that Ding could support him, keep him alive, even when he had that tiny HP pool. Making sure that Nico was warded away from the backlines is that Ding is so hard to get in onto here.
Oh boy, Nico constantly in this back lines, but you've got to look at the ultimate economy. We are looking at almost an EMP there. 70%, but the beat will get dropped. There's the big self-destruct. Isn't going to find anybody just yet, but they're all trapped inside this room, and actually beautiful body block in there from Best, keeping them all inside. Jumps straight back on the car, but straight back to his death. Shatter has got the high ground. Can anybody dislodge him for the time being? A beautiful nade just strikes two members, enabling Shatter to get at least one kill. D.Va is going to chase him down, though. He's going to have to retreat completely under this tunnel. Big self-destruct. Can it find anybody? I don't think so. Just buys a little bit more space. Ding still on this cart. Very offensive on the Ana. Is going to get punished for it as well as Gustav ends up going down. Best comes back in. Still has Primal Rage. Nico marching forward, but Shatter almost going down to the Tesla cannon from the Winston, but not quite finding the mark. Another hack onto Best this time around, and actually another hack straight into an EMP also. Nico's going to have an absolute field day, but not after Shatter has got something to say about it. Jumps straight on the car. He's still on top of it. He gets hacked in the meantime, but the tactical visor is still going. He gets battered away and finally finds the kill. 10 seconds remaining, and they get it in the end. 1 minute 30 added to the bank.
And they had to use a bit more than Eagle Gaming wanted to there, an EMP and a Pulse Bomb, of course. Not to much avail, but eventually their vanilla Overwatch went out. But now, Young and Beautiful, they are ready to receive. Ding standing there with a nano boost. I imagine the main recipient of that will be Best, as Shadow's a little bit far away from that visor himself. He'll be able to bring them together. There's a Pulse Bomb.
I'm not sure if that got in, and I'm pretty sure it did. These pulse bombs just cannot connect from either team, it seems. Flippy's in the 1v1 with Dempsey, but Hib's going to be there as well to just secure the kill in the end. A big beat drop here from Eagle Gaming, pushing them round the corner. Nico finds his second and third kill. Ding and Shadow are going to fall. Best once again left alone on the car, ends up going down as well. They don't want to stagger Gustav. They hack him up in the end. Those songs have been turned off. It's too loud in this studio. Young and Beautiful are now going to have to, on their last limbs, try and defend.
It's going to be so hard as well. Nox can lock down one door and Amaze can knock down the other. Both of these tank ultimates are going to be in play. The EMP is also ready to go should Flippy decide to use it.
They're in such a power play right now. A big EMP, two self-destructs come off, but Amaze one was bigger. They're going to lead it straight to the end. It's only 0.6 of a meter away. A big ultimate comes through from Nog, just bashing everyone. Primal Rage doing the work for the time being. Shatter ends up going down. Ding tried to make his way back onto the point with the Moira, but Emil gets desuited as well. He has to be able to touch. Harp in the back line, just throwing shapes, throwing hands, ends up getting the Transcendence right at the end. He's going to heal everybody up, but still Young and Beautiful are respawning. 3 seconds left, 2-1 on the clock. Nox finds Gustav. Shadow's back in the fight once again. He's on the back line on Hip, but Hip gives him the boot. He ends up going down, and Ding finally gets revenge on the support. Pulse Bomb goes wide again. Amaze still dancing, but Emil has respawned once more. This guy is an absolute beast at staying alive with the help of Gustav. That sound, that healing, that AoE is just too much for Eagle Gaming to deal with. But now their AoE's in the fight. The Lucio's on the cart. Overtime ticks down, and Young and Beautiful eventually secure Numbani.
Young and drawing it up right here, 1-1 as we finish out Numbani by the closest of margins, Jaws. And wow, that last... You okay? Do you need a breath?
I'm all right.
He's all right, folks. He's all right.
0.6 of a meter as well. There was a primal raging Nox on the cart. I was like, there's no way he's not going to get it. He's bashing everybody away. But just the closer respawns from Young and Beautiful won out the day.
Nimbani was the Emil story. And the amount to which he could stall out that cart was just fantastic. Using that 600 HP and the extra 150 after to really be a very annoying presence on the cart, laying down a huge amount of damage, and then managing to take out that soldier is probably what managed to clinch from that, because then attrition was in their favor. There wasn't enough DPS to take them out as fast as they were spawning.
Realistically, Hip stayed alive for so long. He even built up a Transcendence. It was a very, very close game. We're going to jump to a very, very quick commercial break, but we're going to be back very, very soon with our analysts to break down the game.